In Super Mario Odyssey, chain chomps are typically restricted to a large circular area by their chain with a point in the center we can call their home. But what if we were able to push the chain chomps past these boundaries? Well, thanks to this glitch found by Circle, that's exactly what Chain Chomp Displacement lets us do. But before we go over the glitch, we need to discuss some core Chain Chomp mechanics. In SMO, Chain Chomps have three main zones that are going to be relevant to this glitch. The base boundary is the zone that the Chain Chomp is able to move throughout using normal means. If Mario captures the Chain Chomp, he can freely move about this area. If he reaches the edge, he can shoot the Chain Chomp with a charge attack. Chain Chomps will by default sit at their home position in this area, which is located at the center point of this zone. The second zone we'll be calling the Chain Chomp's attack range. When Mario is in this range, the Chain Chomp will attack him with a charge attack, return to his home position, and then repeat. This range extends a bit beyond the Chain Chomp's base boundaries, meaning Mario can make the Chain Chomp attack him, but have no risk of getting hit. The final zone is what we'll call the active range. This zone is not as visible as the other two, but is going to be the most important for performing the glitch later. The easiest way we can tell if we're currently in this zone or not is by looking at the Chain Chomp's idle animations. If the Chain Chomp is doing the barking idle animation, then we are still in its active range, but if they are doing the sitting idle animation, then we are not. It's important to note that when you are already in the range, it's bigger, but once you are outside of the range, it becomes smaller until you enter it again. This seems to be a common trait for certain things in Mario Odyssey. So now that we know how the Chain Chomp works, we can go over the glitch. There's a few different ways we can break the Chain Chomp out of these boundaries, and I will be doing my best to go over all of them. First method we're going to be going over is T-Rex capture displacement. This is probably the most known way to perform the glitch and works on both the 1.0.0 and 1.1.0 versions of the game. First we're going to need to take the T-Rex and defeat a Chain Chomp. It doesn't matter which Chain Chomp it is, but which one you choose will affect how far away we have to travel. Next we are going to uncapture the T-Rex and roll away quickly. We need to make sure that we are outside of the Chain Chomp's active range for this to work properly. You also need to ensure that the Chain Chomp respawns before the T-Rex despawns. Next we'll be turning the camera using snapshot mode to respawn the Chain Chomp on top of the T-Rex. If this is done properly, the Chain Chomp will respawn and start to slide away from its home position as long as we stay outside of its active range. In this state, the Chain Chomp has no collision, so it can fly through walls and as far out of the map as it likes. Re-entering the Chain Chomp's active range will cause it to begin to fly back to its normal boundaries. Because the Chain Chomp has collision again, it's very easy for it to get stuck on walls, leading to some interesting scenarios. If we use this glitch to bring the Chain Chomp to certain locations on the map, we can actually use him to get out of bounds as well. The next method we're going to be going over is another capture displacement method, but this time we're going to be using another Chain Chomp. This method is a bit more limited because the Chain Chomp's boundaries need to be overlapping, but in my opinion it is much easier than using the T-Rex. Like the previous method, this only works on versions 1.0.0 and 1.1.0. First we're going to capture a Chain Chomp that rests close enough to another Chain Chomp for them to interact. Next we're going to move him to a location so that there is another Chain Chomp between him and his home position. Uncapture the Chain Chomp and quickly leave its active zone. When the Chain Chomp's capture stun finishes, he will hit the other Chain Chomp on his journey back to his home position, causing the other Chain Chomp to be displaced. Like before, going back into the Chain Chomp's active range will make him fly back to his intended boundaries. Using this method, it's a lot easier to displace the Chain Chomps in the direction you'd like because the collision angles here mimic the angles when you fire one Chain Chomp at another. The third and final displacement method we'll be going over is rock displacement. This method is by far the most limited and uses a method completely different than the original two. On the bright side, this method does work on all versions of the game currently released. Performing this method is simple. We just need to place a rock by an edge in front of a Chain Chomp, capture the Chain Chomp, and shoot him into the rock. When the Chain Chomp hits the rock, his momentum will change, allowing him to fall and drop off the edge, becoming displaced. In spite of this method being much more limited, you can still do some interesting things with this Chain Chomp found near the edge before clearing Cascade. Using 2-player mode, we can capture the Chain Chomp as it falls. We can use this to get far below the map to briefly get some weird views of Cascade. And that's all there is to know about Chain Chomp displacement. Have any questions about the glitch? I'd be glad to answer. Just leave a comment down below and I'll try my best to give you my thoughts when I have the time. As always, thanks again for watching. If you enjoyed the video, feel free to like and subscribe. I'll see you guys next time.